Hi everyone, this is Erin from Sandpaper Road, and this is video number 1 in our scrapbooking series, Use What You Have. Today we're going to be looking at 12 by 12 pre-printed paper. If you've been scrapbooking for a while, no doubt you've got one of these large paper stacks that you've probably picked up wherever you pick up your scrapbooking supplies, and they're great, but oftentimes for me, I'm left in the stack with these large, full, pre-printed sheets because either they're just not my style, or I just don't feel like cutting this out, or I just can't think of anything else other than just to plunk a few pictures down in the empty space. But I've got a secret up my sleeve that will help you make better use out of these full, pre-printed pages, so stick around. Hey scrapbookers, how many of you have these 12 by 12 packs of 1,000 sheets in them and you're still thinking that you have to go buy more paper because there's just some sheets that you're never going to use, so you think? Well, I'm going to show you a very, very quick tip that's going to change how you use the paper you already have. I'm talking particularly about, for example, this is by Die Cuts with a View. It's a great stack. It's from 2013, but still, you've got all kinds of stuff that aren't even necessary, all kinds of pages that you can use aside from the holidays. And then you come across, and I marked it so I would remember, something like this. And you think, oh my goodness, all I can think to see is to plunk down journaling, picture. And for some of you, that's probably how you scrapbook, and there's nothing wrong with that. But some of you who are maybe more into mixed media art, or you know, you want to take your scrapbooking up a level, or it just doesn't look like your style, there are ways around this, and I'm going to show you just a very, very quick tip that will extend the life of the supplies you already have. Here's another example. I love this paper. I love the finish. It's got that chalky finish, and this is also Die Cuts with a View. They say it's limited edition. It's from 2013, and it's a chalk stack. I love it so much, and I've already used quite a bit. But what would you do with something like this other than just plunking down things? Maybe you've thought to fussy cut out all of these individual things and use them as, you know, die cuts. That's fine. I think that's a great idea. Or what would you do with this if you don't just go plunk, plunk, and plunk something down? Maybe you could cut the tree out, and these are obvious, you know, solutions to this issue to make more use of the paper you already have. But then I would run into a problem. What in the world would I do? These are great. Look, you could cut these out and use them as tags or just cards, just right by themselves. But then you get into these kind of things. Oh, what a great page. And you could just cut this out, but then you're left with all this. So, or this. As a matter of fact, we're going to use this one today, I think. This is a perfect example. And I'm going to take it right from the pad. I'm just going to show you this little quick tip. Okay. Now, what I will do is we're going to actually trim eventually off. Just see how this is just a little bit off center here, and we have a little bit more. We're going to trim it eventually so that it's even, but that is not the step that I'm going to show you. Here I'm going to show you how to make a better use of this page without fussy cutting this whole thing out, and without just plunking down a picture. I keep a couple pictures off to the side just to see what it would look like if I just plunk down 2 pictures. Now that would look fine. These don't go together. They're just pictures I keep off to the side. And this would look fine, but look, oh, see, that bugs me right there. I love this. So how do I hang on to this? I could just use one picture. I don't know, that just doesn't look like anything to me. It just looks plain. And what if I want to add a journaling block? Then I get into doing stuff like this and doing stuff like this. Let me show you this quick tip. Now what you are going to need to make this happen is a self-healing mat. Self-healing. For example, something that you would use a circle cutter on. This is a Creative Memories mat. There are probably other self-healing mats out there. I think I have a, this one is from Fiskars, and it would work just fine too. And it doesn't need to be so huge. But whatever you already have, I bet you already have one and you don't even know that you have one. So you'll need a self-healing mat. You'll probably need some washi tape, and you're going to need an X-Acto knife. And what we'll do now, the X-Acto knife I have is just a regular old craft and hobby knife, but I also have this really neat Stanley hobby knife set that I got as a gift from my stepdad, and I love it because it's got different tips that you can interchange. I call that like a scalpel tip. And so in this video, this is what I'm going to use today, but certainly you could use any regular old craft knife. And this is a simple solution, and you'll find yourself finding new ways to use this very same tip or trick on lots of other things, not just scrapbooking paper. I'm taking some washi tape and I'm taping it only to the mat, not to the tabletop. Oops. Oops. This washi tape is fine, but let me do it this way. Okay, and just a little bit, just so it doesn't get off the mat. Now it does slide, that's fine, because what I'm going to do is take my craft mat, and I am actually going to try to cut an area, because in my dream world I want to slide this picture right in there, in that spot, and then have this one on top, or room, the point being room for 2 4x6 photos on this 12x12 sheet. Then I could put journaling here if I wanted to and embellish it more with some things I already had, but I didn't want to cover this up. So we're gonna, with our knife, just cut out just right around here. Now when you're using a knife, a hobby knife, you want to watch this other thumb, and for you left-handers, you want to watch your thumb. I know it would probably give me lots of views to see a cut thumb live and in action, but I would prefer to keep my thumb. You also want to pull toward you every time. That's why I have this self-healing mat on top of another surface. If I taped this paper still to the table, then I would have to move my body around. But by taping it to a movable mat, I can turn the mat, and that makes all the difference in the world. So I'm going to just start here, and hopefully my head is not in the picture. And remember, you're only cutting through paper. Although this is a strong paper, you know, we're not trying to cut through, you know, cardstock, chipboard, that's what I meant to say, or something, you know, really, really, really heavy. So I'm pressing and turning. Do not pick up the knife if you can help it when you're doing the corner like that. There. That's it for that. We don't lose any of the picture. We just give ourselves a choice. That's all it is. And sometimes I feel that while I love these designs, these 12x12 designs, sometimes I feel that they remove my choice. I have to be mindful of my thumb. And I'm going to do it around this one too. Now again, I'm just making a guess. And that's it. I don't want to outline it. That would be so hard to do, and it would just be unnecessary to do. All we need is a little bit of choice. And look at that. It lifts right up and it keeps it intact. And my thing is starting to unscrew. I also thought, you know what I want to do? Is this right here. That. So, again with my thumb. And if you have never worked with your craft knife before, I suggest, if you want to try this technique, try it on another piece of paper from your stack that you don't mind if it messes up. Also, if you cut just a little bit past, then, especially when you're rounding a corner, then you can pick right back up and you don't have to, or you'll get a nice clean cut. That's what I meant to say. There. There. Isn't that nice? Now watch what happens. I could still, I know this isn't the order. Again, these are just sample pictures, but look what that does. And this is a technique you may have already seen before. So my apologies if you are disappointed that you thought it was going to be something just new and revolutionary. If you have never seen this before, or if you're relatively new to crafting, enjoy, because sometimes you just don't know what to do with these big papers other than to just plunk stuff down. So this right here keeps this intact. If you don't much like, you know, this is a bit of a jagged edge, you could certainly take a little piece of sandpaper or even a nail file, and not with your pictures in it, of course, but you could go back through and just sand that off, you know, and that might give a little nice smooth edge. Or you could go back through when you're done and you have the paper up, and take the scissors and, you know, make that all smooth if you're if you like things all smooth and neat. To me, I just think this would be fine the way it is, like that, for example. Now there's something else though with the same idea in mind, is right here, because I imagine if I had this and this, let's say 2 4x6 photos, what would I do with the rest of the page? I imagine I would want to journal somewhere, and this seems like a place where I would journal. This seems like a place I could put more decorations and things. So I kind of want to be able to do this same thing, but up here with this letter A. That's what I was looking at. And again, I'll turn this way, and I love this. Something just so small that will make all the difference in the world. And I'm going to, again, you're not trying to cut through chipboard or anything like that. And I'm just going to try to, oh, and I didn't do that very well. That's okay. Let's see what this will look like. Now I stop on a right angle. I'm not going to try to go around a corner like that in one swoop. I am trying to be mindful though of making a shape, because maybe that's a little bit better, because I really don't want it to look like a square block, and that could happen if I'm not real careful. Do you see me consciously trying to move my thumb out of the way? I love this swivel. The swivel that comes with the board. Now this is not coming out as neatly as the other one, but that's okay, because again, you can clean this up later. Okay. Now I'm taking the tape off. I've got a good enough cut right there. And anything that I didn't do well, I can fix. I think I'm done with my self-healing mat right now. And let's see how we did with this letter A. If you remember the days of paper dolls, and you just had to be just careful about there. Just be careful when you're pulling that up. Now see, that doesn't look so perfect, but again, I can go through with scissors if I want. And here's why this part doesn't matter so much. Because if I'm putting a journaling block there, for example, remember, you know, these journaling blocks, I think they were also from Creative Memories a while back, and they came pre-made, or maybe some of you have other just pre-made journaling things. They're great to use. I still use mine all the time. But look, when you slide this in, you see anything that happened down here, you're not going to see that anyway. So you can go back through if you want with your paper now and with some scissors if you wanted to, and clean that up and make it perfect. Okay? But otherwise, look what we've done. In just that little bit of time, now I feel like, especially if you feel like you outgrow your products sometimes, so you're like, oh, that's not my style anymore, you can keep up with your own crafting growth. And create some really neat pages. Fun, but sometimes we just become collectors of the stuff more than actual scrapbookers. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that this one simple trick with an X-Acto knife will help bring new life into the pre-printed 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that you already have. Now, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Sandpaper Road on YouTube. Don't forget to click the little bell to receive notifications right in your inbox when I make a new video. And you can follow Sandpaper Road on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And visit Sandpaper Road on Etsy to purchase items or to place custom orders. And a complete list of all of the products and items that I used in this project will be placed in the description box below, plus links to social media, and that way you can get to Sandpaper Road much easier. And thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye!